Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Rim. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're back for another indie horror spotlight. Today, with us, he's a returning guest. He's been on the show many times. One of my favorites. He has a new movie that I had the pleasure of seeing the screener, and it's called VIC EFFECTS. Welcome back, Chris Shern. Chris, welcome back to the Horror
What's up, man?
Realm.
Good to be back, brother.
You too, man. Thanks, man. Thank you. Now, listen, tell my audience a little bit about VIC EFFECTS.
So Vic Effects. I got the T-shirt. Got
Love
the
it.
hoodie on. Got the swag. So it's about a Foley artist, named Vic, Paulette. What a Foley artist is someone who makes sound effects for like movies, video games, anything that needs sound. So, she does sound effects for independent horror films, and that's her 9 to 5, and one day, a famous but controversial film director named Milo Kemp shows up to her studio to offer her a job to do sound effects for this for his next film, because his Foley artist passed away mysteriously, so he needed someone to finish the film. And Vic was like, "Yeah, I'm down to do it." Plus, she looks up to Milo's previous Foley artist, that's like her mentor, and she like listen, she looks up to this guy, and his name is Thomas Raven, and you'll see him periodically, with like interviews and stuff talking about sound or whatever. So, long story short, she started getting into the job doing sound effects for this weird, crazy, psychological, movie, and strange things started happening as she's creating the sound effects for the movie. So that's kind of what I have so far when it comes to this very very meta. So it's like a movie within a movie within. It's just it's a lot of things happening. So you can get to see her create sound effects for the movies that she's working on. So it'll kind of go into the process, and then it'll cut into the progress. So the editing kind of go back and forth, where you see her prepping for the sound, and then it'll cut into the movie of what she's doing, where you can see and hear the full effect of it.
Now,
Plus,
Chris. Now, Chris, now that I'm 43 years old, man, I swear I have the attention span of a toddler. Um, it takes like a movie really has to grab my attention from the fucking beginning in order
right,
to keep me engaged. And Big Effects does that because I love in the beginning the documentary style where you're getting introduced what a Foley effects artist is. It's something
right,
I never even know is a thing, and just the noises, and then like you get to jump and see, the noises playing in these indie horror movies. Like this one
right.
word. Oh my goodness! By the way, the practical effects on there is a kill in the beginning of the damn movie.
Yeah.
Chris, oh that was fucking gruesome.
Thank you.
With the fucking mouth and the oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah.
Who did your practical effects? Was that you?
So actually, Caitlin Stack, who's one of the stars of Vic Effects, one of the co-stars, she actually did the practical help with the practical effects, and she was one of the lead actors in the movie. So
Oh,
yeah,
Caitlin, amazing fucking job.
thanks.
Amazing. Amazing.
She would be very happy about that.
Because it got me engaged because this is something it had me thinking for a second, like, is this something that indie horror filmmakers do? Like the Foley effects? Like and I was engaged to find out like, oh my goodness, the noise of strangulation and just ripping, a child's pushing a child's toy that makes no effects. It had me so engaged and had me locked into the movie from that point on. Now,
Oh,
was that something that you meant to do? Was to hit the audience right in their face and boom and get them locked in at the beginning?
yeah, because here's the thing, man. As a independent, micro budget, low budget, you don't got a lot of money filmmaker. You have to that first 5 minutes of the movie. You gotta get them. You gotta get them locked in. You can go into this whole like spiel of this and that, but I knew I had to get people that first minute. I knew I had to get people in there. So you see the kind of it stands still, and then it dollies out, it dollies back, and then you see Vic walks in getting ready to set up her sound effect. So when it goes into that, you see the prep and her sound guy, Coop. He's her sound engineer getting ready, getting the knobs ready. So she goes in, and then right when she pushed that, like she ripped this towel and she hit it on a piece of log. It goes right into the first film, which is called Cyclone Base 9, which is my homage to like Predator alien stuff. So you see the
Mhm.
creature and with all the electricity on his body, and he's fighting the cyborg woman. And which is Caitlin. Caitlin played 4 different characters in this movie. So that's like the first
Wow.
10 minutes of the movie. And so everything's kind of going and everything's intense. And it cuts back and forth where you see Vic working on the sound effects, and it cuts back into that scene where she's working on it. So the audience see the progression of what she's doing, and then when it cuts to the actual movie, they see the full spectrum of what she did. So that first 5 minutes cuts back and forth, and then we go into a mockumentary, documentary style kind of thing, telling people, okay, now this is what a Foley artist is. And then after that, it goes into the story of Vic and her as a life as a Foley artist and her personal stories and stuff like that. So it goes into, like I said, it's very meta. So it goes into these different, you know, sections. But that first 5 minutes is like within the
Mhm.
documentary, you see the guy ripping the guy's jaw off and stuff like that. So yeah, we even within the documentary setting, we had to bring some elements to it to get people like oh shit, like get them riled up. So it's a different. It's honestly, man, it's a different vibe. I'm not trying to say I reinvented the wheel, but there's not a lot of movies about Foley artists and
No.
independent filmmaker. It depends on the person. I personally make Foley, like a lot of that stuff. I create the sound effects. I have, sounds and things I find where it makes weird sounds and I incorporate that. I use, pre recorded stuff like that. But I've always been intrigued with the short films I've done for people. I've always used different Foley and also pre recorded stuff. So I was always intrigued by like Foley artists and sound effects and stuff. So there's a couple of movies out there like that, but I wanted to make my own version of it. And yeah, so
See, I'm intrigued by Foley artists now because I was like, I
awesome.
didn't even know this was a fucking thing. So it had to be locked in. Now, listen, you talk about also too. This is a micro budget. I mean, a low budget movie
Yeah,
working on a micro budget, but the special effects, the I don't know if you use CGI now, but the special effects they look like a micro budget movie. What were some techniques that you use? But I mean, I've seen you do this before. You use special effects even with a micro budget.
right. Well, so like with my first movie, Evil Lurks, I used there was some practical effects here and there, but I used a lot more visual effects, CGI stuff on Evil Lurks than I did with Vic effects.
Mhm.
And a lot of the stuff you see, like, and I think people can kind of see it in the trailer. So when the monster gets his hands on the cyborg woman and she falls, he put his hand inside her, stomach, started ripping all the guts out. When you see that scene, so that mean that scene was like that was all practical. I mean, I didn't want to do anything practical. Only thing that was CGI is I added electricity sparks and stuff
Mhm.
within as the monsters digging into the woman's guts. So I was so that was special. That was like so it was more everything was mainly practical with the visual with the CGI stuff as the icing on the cake,
Mhm.
not vice versa, where because I wanted to get away from computer graphics. I wanted to get more into that's why 80s horror movies are still
Yes.
the greatest era of horror movies. Regardless if the story was bad or the acting was bad, the practical effects were fucking brilliant. And I think people, and I know a lot of filmmakers is trying to bring all of those elements back. Now I get it. You put computer shit is it's a lot quicker. Well, it's still time consuming, but you just have to spend more time. As me as a filmmaker, especially moving forward, I'd rather spend that time getting the practical effects in the camera, and also someone who edit their own movies. It makes my life easier to say, oh, I can just go up in here. The stuff is there. Once I color grade it, then I can add a little thing right here as a visual effect, and it's not going to take me 2 weeks to do this 6 second freaking visual effect. So as a lover of 80s horror and practical effects, I took that time to do it with the mouth ripping open. We spent we it's funny, we spent 3 hours doing that, and then it's a 5 second clip when you see
Hmm.
the whole thing. Like people just got because that was a preview of a movie she was working on called The Crescent Moon Shines Over Nightmares. So that
Yes.
was like one of her mock, which eventually we're gonna turn into a short feature, which is
Oh,
we'll
that'll
talk
be
about
fun.
it later. But Mike, that's why I'm like the whole Vic effects, universe thing. So this is kind of like the introduction. But with that, yeah, it took 3 hours to do that for a 5 second setup. So we use a mouth, a mouth. Actually, I bought this on Amazon, and then I took the jaw off of it, and then we just planted right on his face, and then we used latex and blood, and pretty much what I had to do was position because I was playing the guy ripping his face off. I played all the monsters and stuff in the movie. So what I did with the face, the jaw, we just ripped it down, and we did it real close. It's all right. When you add as much blood as you can on anything, everything looks a lot better. When you
Hmm.
see the behind the scenes in the picture, it just looks hilarious. It's like you laugh, like you see all this blood splatter on this dude's face, and we're having a great time. He wasn't having a good time because it was a cold. It was like February when we shot that, and it was cold. But he was a fucking pro, man. So yeah, we took latex, that lots of blood, and I just did all of this to get close. And then I bought like a fucking fake tongue on Timu and said, "All right, let's put that right there," and we attached that. And it was just me gripping, and then just like camera work, me gripping, and then the blood stuff just kind of added to it. So when you see the progress, when you see the process, it's funny, but then when you see the progress, it's like, oh shit. So
Yeah,
that's
it was
how we did
gruesome.
that scene.
It was gruesome.
Yeah.
But but
Awesome.
but like even like the lightning scenes and the I understand what you mean. Where I see some indie, low budget horror films, and they put a lot of emphasis on the special effects and the
Yeah.
CGI. And if you don't have the budget, it doesn't look as good. It looks cartoonish. It looks animated.
Yeah.
And when you put a lot of emphasis on that, because you do have to have those larger budgets to make that CGI and
Right.
those FX look somewhat natural.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, CGI, even when you got a budget, just like when it comes to blood and just explosions type stuff with CGI, maybe because I'm just so detail oriented when I watch movies, it just like I'd rather try to figure out the real thing. I'd rather try to figure out how can we make this work with the practicals. Explosions are tough because you want to be careful with stuff like that because we ain't got insurance and all that shit.
Yeah.
Even though, even though, and even though there's a scene where a woman her stomach bursts open, we actually use like we actually we did CGI and an actual like this air compressor, and we put this balloon in her stomach, and it popped. And then we had blood, and then I added some extra stuff because it was like a 1 second clip. Like, all right, explosion. But we was very careful with that, but we wanted to still add an actual explosion within the visual effects and stuff. I mean, honestly, man, everything's about how you can approach it. I've seen some amazing no budget $20,000 films do some awesome practical effects.
Hmm.
If you know what you're doing and you got a good team around you and you just know how to edit it the way you need to edit it, and you don't make just get that 1 second in, they'll miss the flaws and shit like that. I
Yeah.
mean, I remember I was watching something on the first Jeepers Creeper, and you see the guy with his costume on. You're like, okay, yeah, they had a nice budget. And then for a split second, I saw the zipper in the back of his neck. I was like, oh shit, I saw the zipper. But it's like, but you gotta like even with the creature outfit, with Vic Effects, the first 4 minutes of the movie, I put all that electricity on that stuff just because there was some foam that was showing. I'm like, all right, let me add this and that. And if you look real quick, like, oh shit, they can see that foam. But it did me. And then lighting, the way lighting is the way you light things and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, yeah, man. I mean, if you know what you're doing and you're strategic about it and you don't if you don't like go too long with it, you can get away with a lot of shit. But between low budget to $1 million movies, sometimes I see some good shit. Sometimes I seen $100,000. I seen one of them damn Popeye movies. It was
Oh,
like
they're horrible.
it was 100 grand. I'm like, where did the money go? This was
I know.
terrible. It was
I
terrible,
agree.
man. It was bad. The other one I saw, Popeye the Slayer, man. I thought the practical was pretty good on that one.
Yeah,
Really,
that's gory. Horrible story, but yes,
yeah,
the
yeah,
practical is great.
yeah. So I think it's all about how you can approach those things, and as me as a filmmaker moving forward. And people say, yeah, man, I like what you did with Evil Lurch and stuff, but it's hard for me to watch that movie now because I cringe because like, I could have done that better. I could have done that better. I should have never did that CGI blood and stuff like that. But it's everything's about learning. I'm learning. I'm learning every time I go. And for my next film, is like let's get it in. I'm trying to avoid any CGI with this concept, but it's a different kind of movie as well. So.
So this is a first time question. I've never asked any filmmaker. I've always been curious about this. I am not a fan of 4K TVs and HD TVs and shit. I'm not a fan because when I watch movies, it shows all the imperfections
Yeah.
of a fucking movie. I don't know if you feel the same way. Is as a filmmaker, is that something you worry about? Like, oh my goodness, with the technology of TVs now, that even watching a horror movie is so much lighter and crisper and clearer. Where horror movies are not meant to be that way. Horror movies are meant to be dark and grainy. Do you worry about that? Like with the constant advancement of TVs, like people are going to see fucking every imperfection in your movie.
Well, the one thing that I think about now, because with Evil Lurks, I shot that in HD, and even when what I did shooting that in HD, I still added like some softness to it, and I added some grain to it, and I wanted to give it this kind of 80s, late 70s, 80s feel. And with this movie, and from people who's watched the movie or done reviews here and there, some people said, this movie reminds them, the style and the look reminds them of Dario Argento as far as like the way it looks with the reds, and then I get the grain and how soft it is. And I had HD cameras, and like I had a red camera, I had all those fancy cameras and shit like that. And I was cool with it being as crisp as it can be, so because it gave me more room to fuck it up, to
Okay.
add the softness, to add the grain, so it would make it, because digital like little like film grain and digital grain is two different things. So that was my goal, to kind of make it as crisp as I can, and then I added a lot of softness and I added some grain to it. Like watching my movie, and I mean, whether you watch it on your laptop or on your phone, when I sent you the screen, watching it in the theater, man, you can just see all that extra shit, and it's just like, that feels great. And then it's a movie about sound, so doing it in 5.1, it's 5.1 in stereo, doing it like that, and hearing all the electricity sparkling around the theater, that was a cool feeling. And yeah, I'm not a fan. I don't, when people say 6K, 8K, 12K, I don't like, I shoot with a 4K camera, and I use a lot of manual lenses that has really soft, soft edges to it. I don't really like, expensive lenses, that make your movie look like a fucking soap opera. Like, I don't
Yeah.
like, and like you said, horror movie, and like once again, late 70s, 80s. I just watched the fucking Blob
Hmm.
a couple of days ago. It was on Shutter now, and I'm just like, man. And as much as the practical effects is amazing in that movie, as much as
Hmm.
I love that, I was like, oh, look at that beautiful grain. Like,
Hmm.
look how shitty this. Like the first
Yeah.
Saw, the first Saw. I like when I first saw and watched it recently. Like, oh my god! And then I watched it in 4K, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I can't watch this. This don't make
Yeah.
sense. But then I watched it streaming somewhere, and it's like, oh, that grain, man. It's like
Yes.
it it's an atmosphere. Horror is an atmosphere. It's an atmosphere. Cool. Give me crisp, nice stuff for Toy Story 5. I'm cool.
Exactly.
Sorry, but the
Avengers and all of that. Yes, Marvel movies. But I like
yeah,
my horror movies to almost look like a fucking basement porno shot on like a camcorder type thing. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
want it to look like because it builds it actually builds to the environment and the
yeah.
atmosphere of the movie.
Especially with especially with the subject matter. I think for me, because I go in different places with VIC effects, and then the scene. I don't know how far you got into the movie, but the scene with the person with the with the red
Yes.
face.
Hmm.
She's in the room and she's doing. Is the room is very quiet and just you can just hear the ambiance of the sound like that. The way I shot that because the room is very empty and it's her in this red outfit and she the red face doing all these things. Like even the aesthetic of that, I wanted to make it really soft looking, add some grain, and just kind of yeah. I mean, and a lot of that stuff, a lot of the stuff for that scene was influenced by the movie Martyrs. If you ever seen that
Great
movie,
movie. Yes.
yeah, and the movie Inside. I put it this way: a lot of this movie and a lot of things I try to do was influenced by French and Japanese horror films from like the early 2000 to 2010. There's a lot of influence. I mean, I'm a fan of Dario Argento, and people say, "Yeah, man, you got that vibe with the way your movies look." And I was like, "That's cool." I'm a fan. I'm not like Google Gaga of him. I like the way his stuff looks, but I think it's a lot based on the type of films that I like and the style that I approach because I feel like that adds to the atmosphere. Like the last Final Destination movie was cool. It was fun, but it was too expensive looking. It was too
It
clean.
was.
It was like
It was.
even it was some great kills, but it was digitized as fuck a
Yes.
lot of it, and I'm just like,
Yes.
I mean, the remake of Fright Night, it was cool, and I
Hmm.
enjoyed it. It was fun, but it didn't look like 85. Like make it like 80, make it look like the 85 version of Fright Night. Make it
I
like,
agree.
yeah. I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Evil Dead, those movies just they stood with withstand the test of time because they just had this aesthetic to them. People would say they just didn't have enough money and their movies look the way they look, but that's what make horror films work for me. You know what I'm
Same
saying?
here.
I'm like Nosferatu, the original Nosferatu. It was like 20 different color grades, and it was like pink and purple. They didn't know what the fuck color grading was. They were just like, all right, let's clean it, see what's
So
going.
we're gonna.
Yeah, it was just like it was like a drunk guy painting on the film. Like what the fuck? Okay, and you like watch that movie from 1920 whatever, and it's just like in the color version. I'm just like, yeah, it's fucking pink and purples aesthetics is fucking it ain't and then you go Robert Eggers got his version
Yeah.
because he had like $200 million, but that's what I'm saying. Even that, it's just like for me as a filmmaker and a spectator, yeah, I shoot it in 4K and then dirty it up because it gives you more room to just make it crazy.
That's a good answer, man. Now you bring up Final Destination last one. I saw that in the fucking theaters, and
Yeah,
it was kind of a disappointment to me. But I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna tell you, and this is going to go into one, but at you, the disappointment was so the first 15-20 minutes when they
yeah,
were, it's like an old time scene, looked like it was back in the day, and they're on
yeah,
this, and I was like, oh my god, they are doing like a period piece Final Destination. I was like, this is genius. You know what I mean?
yeah,
This is something I was not expecting. And then they fuck it up and go to the present time. And I was like,
yeah,
oh, this is another Final Destination movie. Like that was an original idea. Why didn't you just ride that along and
Yeah,
like to do a period piece, Final Destination, back in the 50s or
right.
something like that? I would have loved to seen that. Or listen, people have it's been out there, so I'm not getting spoilers. Or the little black boy, right?
Yeah.
Have it follow him and a black family. I'm not saying this because I'm black, but have it follow him and a black family and watch how black people handle a Final Destination scenario. That's see now that's fucking original. That is fucking original. I would not even seen that coming if they didn't even tell me this is where it was going or anything. I walk in and I see, holy shit, it's a black Final Destination. I would have been like, holy shit, I did not see that coming. But like, what is it? What is it about horror right now? Yes, there are some filmmakers come out with original ideas, but for the most part, let's be honest, there's a there's a recipe that they're sticking to. Most I don't care if it's indie or big budget, they're
Yeah.
sticking to this safe recipe of something that we've seen over and over again. And like what you're doing in the Vic effect, you're using different lightings. You're using stories or scenarios that most people don't think about and the color scheme and all this stuff. Are you afraid that this is not going to get the attention that you want because people are just stuck in the whole entire Final Destination scenario and then Scream scenario, which we know where this is going to go, we know what this will look like, we know who the players are, we know the tropes.
Well, if my base and what I'm trying to accomplish goes into the Scream and the Final Destination crowd, then I mean, that's dumb on my part to think I, I'm gonna gravitate to them. I know a lot of people, and it's not even like I'm looking at everyone and understand where everybody's coming from. But the people that I do see or talk to or they say stuff, they always like, man, why they always making a remake? Why they always doing this? Why they always like, we want something new, we want something fresh, we want something original. And I don't really like to spew my opinions too hard on social media. I like to utilize my posts to promote what I'm doing. But sometimes I can't help it where I'm like, you don't want that. You want
No,
something
they
you're
don't.
familiar with.
Hmm.
You're gonna go. I didn't see the last two Halloween movies. You know why? Because I'm done. We're good. We did this one. We did this one. We did this Rob Zombie one. I don't want to see this no more. I don't have no interest in that. As a filmmaker, as an artist, you got to stick to your guns. As a businessman, you got to say, well, who's going to gravitate to this? I have no fucking clue. My thing when it comes to Vic Effects is my thing when it comes to Vic Effects is what I was thinking from a marketing standpoint. Like, hey, wait a minute. I'll make a little slasher movie. Like that the guy ripping his face. That was a slasher. That was the Crescent Moon Killer. He was ripping her face off. Oh, I'll make a fantasy horror. About these women with crow and angel wings fighting each other. Whatever. Oh, I'll make a weird like science fiction predator alien horror movie. So I did that with the first scene with the creature and the cyborg. Oh, I'll make vampires. I'll make a vampire movie. Oh, it's a scene where there's two vampires fighting each other, for a split second. Oh, I'll make a experimental, like a weird, like torture porn, horror movie where the red face you see in a room and it's just this chair and her and she's slicing the chick's wrist and making her throw up and puking all over the place. Oh, I'll make a sci-fi horror movie where this woman gets trapped and she got arms attached to her arms and then her stomach explodes. So my thing was like, all right, I'm gonna give you all these different levels. Like, oh, you get for this minute you'll get to see this slasher. For this minute you can get to see this sci-fi horror. You can see this fantasy horror for these 4 minutes or blah blah blah. So that was my marketing scheme of this movie, and that's what I was trying to accomplish when it came to that. And I mean that was where I was coming from. But from me as a filmmaker, I'm intrigued by sound. I'm intrigued by, like, you can watch the movie Mute. I mean, how watch Saw. Watch Saw without any sound effect. And when you see two guys in a room, listen to the room tone. Listen to when he's sawing his foot off. Guess what you
Hmm.
don't see? Him sawing his foot off. Guess
Yep.
what you hear? Him sawing his foot off.
Hmm.
So that's what I'm intrigued about. So my goal is to find my little pocket of fans and have these interviews with you to explain where I'm coming from with Vic Effects. I took it to the festival circuit. I did all right here and there. I didn't do all right here and there where I'm like they probably didn't get it or whatever, or it wasn't tits and boobs and blood guts all over. I mean, it gets bloody and gutsy, and and people could say it's very elevated because it's it's artsy in certain ways and all these other things. But I mean, yeah, man. I mean, I didn't take Evil Lurks to the festival circuit, and I didn't really know how people would react to that. I mean, Evil Lurks just went to Tubi and blah blah blah. But with Vic, I took it to the festivals. We got into some. We won some awards. Um, and then we didn't get into other festivals. And I'm announcing it now, and it's kind of set in stone, but it ain't set in stone. I just signed a distribution deal a couple of days ago,
Nice.
so it's gonna get distributed and it'll be out in the world sometime early next year, and I just go from there. I mean, I'm about to shoot my next movie next month, and I'm just gonna keep going and kind of build the atmosphere. And before we get off, I'll talk to you about the spinoff of what I'm trying to do with the Vic Effects universe for the next film, which actually the next film will probably be a lot more broader in a way of not commercialism, but it'll be a lot more like, more accessible in some kind of way. But yeah, I knew my whole thing was, oh, people want something different. Let me bring something. But I think a lot of people don't. I'm gonna have my. It's just like with my music. I'm gonna have my pocket of fans, and they're gonna appreciate what I'm doing, and then I'm going from there. I love tits and ass and horror. I love them raunchy ass horror movies. Don't
Yes.
watch don't fuck in the woods.
Seen it.
One and
Yes.
two. I,
Yes.
I think the sex was a little bit too long, but I enjoyed those movies. This
Hmm.
new movie, Only Fangs. I thought that movie was fucking hilarious.
I haven't seen it. Is it
Yeah,
out yet?
well, I helped out with the crowdfunding, so I got a
Oh,
screening.
okay, 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 okay.
So I got to see it. It was freaking awesome. And Paul, you should get him on. You had him on a show.
I've had it more. Yeah. Paul
Fucking,
his voice. Yeah.
he's a sweet dude. He's a great
Hmm.
dude. And they put so much energy. You want to talk about DIY to the full power? They put so much energy into their shit, man. And it's a fucking hilarious movie. But yeah, he got that niche. It was tits and
Hmm.
ass and vampires and a
Yes.
concept, and it was funny. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, cool. Go. I'm like, let's make it happen. And all those cats, man. And so everybody's got their own pocket. I went to a festival to see John Adams and Toby Poser, the Adams Family new movie. And you know
Great
how
movie.
Mother
Great.
of Flies. And
Yes.
you know how they are, man. They got
Hmm.
they're in their own. They don't know shit. They ain't in that. They ain't in that Indiegogo crowdfunding world. They just make their fucking movies in the backwoods of the Catskills, and they are fucking brilliant. And I went to a 10:30 screening, and the place was almost full. And I'm just like, there you go. And
Yeah.
they're touring all over the world promoting their new movie. And it's gonna be on Shutter next year. So it's like, and he's also my mentor, and I finally got to meet him after we like communicated for 3 years. So it's like just like anything I do artistically, it's some there's gonna be people who gravitate to that kind of energy, that kind of movie, and some people who's like, I mean, I wanna see another Jason movie, another you know Michael Myers Halloween or a Final Destination or another Scream. But I'm not. That's not my. But the movies that inspired me to make this movie is I know isn't people who like Martyrs or Inside or these other movies that inspired me to make this movie or Barbarian Sound Studio, which is about a Foley artist. They may gravitate to this movie and say, okay, cool, we dig it. So that's my expectations, you know, My next movie is about a cuddle therapist. So yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah. So I let there you go. I'm unofficially starting my therapy session trilogy concept.
Oh,
So
love
this
it.
is the first segment of. So it's about a cuddle therapist. So the next one might be about an exorcist.
Oh,
So. But yeah,
I
I'm,
love
I'm,
it.
I'm talking so much about different shit. But yeah, man, I just gravitate to who's gonna gravitate to me. You know what I'm saying?
By the way, I love your opinion on things. So I'm gonna ask you a controversial question, like I do every interview you and I have. Um, I'm pretty sure you've seen the whole Damien Leone, Terrifier, the
Yeah.
actors and shit. So, as a filmmaker, like, do you establish a contract with your actors and actresses, and 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 does it line out? Hey, this is what you're going to do. Because you haven't put any nudity in your movies. I'm trying to think. Wait, was there? I don't think there's no nudity in
No.
Evil Looks. Yeah. So like, but if you were going to before this happened, was that something that you would do? Would you put in? Is there a contract you or something or agreement or something you establish with your actors actresses? This is what you're going to do, or this is what was required of you.
Yeah, with Vic Effect, I didn't do much with Evil Lurks, but with Vic Effects, I have people sign a consent form. I don't have like a 20-page thing. I say, hey, can I use your likeness and your character in this movie? And then they fill it out, and then I have all that paperwork just in case somebody's like, yo, I don't, whatever. But I keep it simple. I got a consent form. They sign it, and then that's what I'm thinking. I think I think when it comes to that woman and what's going on with Damien Leone and all that shit, I think she signed the forms because she only got paid $10 a day. I think she signed the form saying she's gonna do this thing, but if this movie makes more money, she's gonna get something from that, from something from the back end. From what I've gathered, because she was going to the cons with him. It's because I don't know who to root for and say whose fault or whatever. But she was going to the cons, and she also defended what she did. She was going to the cons because people knew her as the woman who got sliced in half. I think her issue right now is you also, and it could be in the contract. You also said I can get some back end of residuals from future earnings of the movie because I only got paid $100 a day. Now, if that's the case and she got the contract, then yeah, he should pay her. He should pay her back end. If she talking about, oh, you using my likeness, and you using my likeness and use me as that and took advantage of me, I'm like, no, because she was there's interviews out there her defending what she did. It's not like she was like the movie is freaking almost 10 years old. So it's like
Yeah.
you was at cons. You was taking pictures with everybody and hanging out and doing interviews. You knew what was going on. Now, if it was in the contract to say, yeah, I'm supposed to get some extra money coming through, then yeah, she deserved to get some more. That movie made over $100 million within 3 movies. So
But isn't she supposed to get the back? I don't know how the contract looks, but what I'm seeing is that she's supposed to get the back end off of any success from the original movie that she was
oh,
in.
that movie back
Do you think
that,
so? That made $100 million. The original movie, you think?
that there's no way in hell the original Terrifier hasn't made more money since the last two Terrifiers. There's no way between streaming and rentals and merchandise within that. Now I don't know what the contract looked like.
Yeah.
There's no way that movie hasn't made more money or even made his money
Oh
back.
yeah.
Yeah, the first,
It's made more money.
yeah, the
But
two that those are the movies that made millions of dollars.
yes, those are
Terrifier
millions of
didn't make no
dollars.
buck, but between that, because most people saw Terrifier 2 before they even saw Terrifier 1. When they was like,
1%.
oh
Yes.
shit, let me go
Hmm.
and watch this now. And
Yep.
then they saw that and they was like, okay, so yeah, between that, there's I'll be shocked if that movie hasn't made any more money streaming boosted since 2 and 3. So if she's looking at that, then I can understand. But I'm hearing so many things because she's saying that it was like abuse or whatever, saying they used me and I'm like you was upside down. You saw the movie. That wasn't CGI. Like it was the stuff when he was cutting it down, but you see her upside down.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like there was no AI and they put your face on his naked woman's body. It was you. You were a struggling actor that wanted to make some money. You were a struggling actor that wanted to make a damn movie. You was there. Now, like I said, if the contract said you get some back end of what happened with Terrifier, cool. No, that they ain't no yeah. If she talking about two and three, no, that
Yeah, you cannot get money off of the whole entire off of movies that you were not in.
yeah. I mean that's yeah. And then, like I said, man, she defended when she there's video unless they taken down. There's video of her saying yeah, I
And
did
she's
what I
at every. I mean, she like I said, I see the Terrifier guys at every damn convention and anywhere in this whole entire country, and she's always there. She's there with
yeah
them.
yeah.
So like, if
So
there was an
that
issue,
yeah. So in all honesty, I think on her side of it, she need to look at the paperwork or she need to show like this is the contract. And then on the other
yeah,
side of it, if it is money on the back end from Terrifier 1, yes, throw her some money. I mean, you guys are millionaires now.
yeah,
So if that was me and I did that, but everybody they for me, I paid them what I paid them. This is a consent form. I can use your likeness, simple sheet, just sign it, and whatever. If somebody said this and that, I got the paperwork. Say no, like I didn't sign any contract to say you're gonna get a back end of this and that. I would use the honor system and say if this movie make money, I'll throw you an extra whatever.
hmm
So I would do that because I feel I'm an honest person. I mean, I can
yeah,
say that, but I'm an honest person. If Vic Effects made two hundred thousand
$100 million.
dollars
Okay.
on a $50,000 budget, I'm like,
Uh,
cool. I'll throw in some extra money and say, hey man, we did good because you guys worked your ass off for pennies, and I appreciate it. So but yeah, it's all about paperwork, man. I mean, especially now, even in lower budget, big budget, you gotta fill out. But anytime I'm working with people now, I sign a consent form. I don't if it's something that said you get a percentage of this and that, then that's something totally different. You know?
yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. So, Chris, so you're working on a couple minutes, and you're working on some other projects. Actually, yeah, another movie in works. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so my next film that I'm working on, I should be starting to shoot it in December. It's called Hug These Bones. It's about a man. Bill D. Russell plays this man Malcolm, who's a 60-something-year-old addict, and he's a recovering addict. He had, things happen with him, so he found solace in going to cuddle therapy, and he meets a cuddle therapist by the name of Rainey, played by Caitlin Stack, who was in Vic Effects, and he finds solace in her, and as she works on him with cuddle therapy. But little do he know she is harboring a dark entity that that sucks out people's broken souls. So as she
Oh,
hugs people for 20 seconds or longer, that gives her enough time to suck out your soul and collects it and give it to the soul collector.
now,
Like,
did you have any research on cuddle therapy?
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there cuddle therapy. I follow this woman um on TikTok and Instagram. I forgot her name, but yeah, but she's awesome. I don't I don't want obviously I made a movie about hypnotherapist for Evil Lurks, but I don't want to put any I don't want to make fun of cuddle
Yeah,
therapy or any type of therapy. I think
hmm
is important.
that's
I mean,
all there is.
I feel like I always try to make movies that have something to do with mental illness and health and all these things and helping people out. So I think therapy is very important. So I was intrigued by it, but I'm also a horror filmmaker. So I'm like, okay, how do I make this into something horrifying, which is a beautiful thing. And I think once people see this movie and see Rainey, who's the person who's taking people's souls, by the end of the movie, I still think you might have empathy for her. That's all I can. That's all I want to say about it, because I think you feel sorry for her because you know her story and what she's doing, because she's doing what she's doing because she's trying to find something to comfort her. And unfortunately, everybody pays the price for it. But yeah, I did research.
Well, Chrissy, listen, keep up the good work, man. I know you know I'm a fan of your work, man. And I, the first year I'm gonna do another filmmakers roundtable because you were great on there with
I appreciate
Jay
it.
Horton and Brian. So we were definitely gonna do that again. But listen, but where can everyone find you, man, and your work?
Well, I'm on Facebook. My old ass is on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, mainly Facebook and Instagram. Kissing Castle Productions. Follow me on Instagram, Kissing Castle Productions. VIC EFFECTS will be coming out sometime next year. We're doing the paperwork to get that rolling. Working on a new film. My band Invisible Cartoons, we got a new album out, Sci-Fi Disco Carnival. So check it out on Spotify. Still doing my music thing, still staying busy, man. Still doing my father thing. Got my 2 kids and my wife, and doing this movie thing as well. But yeah, Instagram, Facebook, Chris Shern, Kissing Castle Productions, getting it done, man.
Love it, man. Listen, next year, Chicago, Days of the Dead, man. I'm gonna meet you there, okay?
Yeah. Let's do it next year. I was thinking about trying to go this year, but I'm like, there's too much shit going on. But yeah, next year I definitely want to do the cons, because I'll have two movies under my belt to have that, have things out and then be working on this next one, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I need to get my ass to one of them Baltimore film festivals. Hopefully one of my movies will go on there.
Yes.
And we can link up.
DMV, man, has tons, and the best one I would say is called Creature Feature. It's in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, which is right outside of Baltimore, and it's awesome, man. That's where all the indie filmmakers. And there's one in Pittsburgh called Gross Fest. Gross Fest is the biggest indie horror convention in the country, so that's definitely a hot spot.
Cool.
Definitely
yeah, man. Film festivals are exciting and disappointing at the same time, because you're just like, I was gonna get in, and then when you get in, there's a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of hoopla and fun stuff. So that's definitely the world I want to get into as I continue, because I'm trying to get these films done less than 2 years. So I'm trying to get them out, get the ideas in place. So I'm ready to get it in, man. But yeah, it'll be fun to finally meet you, and then realize how fucking tall you are.
I know.
Hey, what's up, man? I'm 6 feet tall, and then you said you like 6'3", 6'4".
I'm 6'4". Like I'm gonna show you his name. I'm a tall fucking guy. Like most people don't realize when they meet me that I'm a big fucking dude. Like holy shit, I didn't know you were that fucking big.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sitting down. Yeah.
When I met John Adams for the first time, he's 6'2". So when I gave him a hug, I got on my tippy toes. I knew he was tall, but I was like, holy shit! I'm like, damn. But no, man. But yeah, man. I'm glad you had me back, man. I love doing this stuff in the roundtable stuff, because I like talking. I don't like typing and saying my opinions on stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we want to talk about movies and the industry and shit. I'm all about conversation. I love
me too, man.
Yeah.
And I'm the realest motherfucker when it comes to interviews.
Oh yeah, you are.
Yeah, I had no fucking script or no questions. This is all the top of my fucking head. It's a conversation, man.
Those are the most authentic. Those are the most authentic setup. And also, and I'm like, man, I was gonna give you the screener earlier so you can kind of digest everything. But yeah, I love the questions you already had from the get go to like really
off the top of my head, man. I'm a master of what I do, man.
I love those interviews too, man. Like when people are like, okay, so what's your favorite 5 horror movies? I'm like, man, I'm not saying that question. You can't have 5 favorite horror movies. I watch
if you're gonna ask one of those questions, you do it like I do it, and watch this, Chris. Chris, what is one horror movie that everybody loves that you feel like is overrated? See, boom. See, that's a question that you ask, and it's controversial, and it starts a fucking conversation.
Okay, people gonna give me Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
You think that's overrated?
I think they made one good movie, and then the rest of those. I seen the second one, and I was like, "Damn, man!"
The series is horrible. Listen, the
Yeah,
series in general. I mean, if you look, if you want to put down, okay, if you say to Travis, what horror movie series has compounded the biggest piece of shit? I would say it's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series. I mean, it's number one. If
right.
you ask me what horror movie franchise has consistently, I'm not saying being great or excellent, but has put together decent movies, and I'm not a huge fan of the series, but I would say the Scream series. Like, if
Oh,
there's
yeah,
no real, I'm not even excited about seeing part seven, but if you look at those movies, none of them are terrible. You know what I mean? They're all decent or great.
after three, I was after three, and after two with Saw, after three with Scream, and after two with Saw, I was okay. I was fine. I was like, I don't need to see any more of this shit.
I totally agree.
Yeah, and the
Yeah, I
reason
totally agree.
I enjoy Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not even in my top five. It's
No, it's
not.
not my top favorite.
It's Inside, Martyrs, um um shit. Like yeah. It's a bunch of movie. It's a bunch of non-English speaking movies, horror movies that's in my top 10 more so than American. The only good horror movie I felt was better when they Americanized it was The Ring. Because I
Yes.
seen the
Yeah.
original Japanese versions and it was cool. It was good, but when I saw the fucking Ring, yeah, that movie, I was like, I was literally like, God damn, like, this freaked me out. Like not freaked me like I
Mhm.
couldn't sleep. I was like, damn, this was creepy. That bitch coming out the damn TV. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, that was creepy.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's kind of I think the whole aura of Texas Chainsaw Massacre because they had that one movie and then all the other movies just didn't click
It
for me.
is.
That's
Yeah.
kind of that's why I'm like, that's
It's a
why
weak
I didn't hate
series.
it, but it was still
It's
just a matter. It was just a matter of like, it's not in my top. It's not even in my top 10.
like in my top five horror movies. I mean, no particular order. Of course, I have the original Halloween,
Yeah.
and I'm also putting Train to Busan in. I think Train to Busan is the best zombie movie ever made.
Wait,
That's a
what is it?
Korean Train to Busan. It's a Korean zombie film.
When did that come out?
2015,
Send
2014, I
me a
want to say.
link to that. Send me a link to that, cause
Oh my God. It is people talking about George A. Romero. This movie shits all over anything George A. Romero ever made. This is the greatest zombie movie ever fucking
I
made.
want.
And
Yeah, I'm
and
curious.
I didn't watch it, and I even made a video about it. That I'm embarrassed that it took me till last year to watch this movie because I didn't want to read subtitles. And like it is, I mean, just the character development. You care about the characters, and like it's just so. Training Busan, best zombie movie ever made, 120%. Um, and then I'm gonna put it's on my wall, which most people can't normally see it. But Henry, the portrait of a serial killer. You
Oh
talk about
yeah,
you talk about I had that on my wall, and it's just
yeah,
completely random to most people. But
yeah,
it is that's where I talk about that grainy fucking look like a something wrong. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It just looks wrong. Like the way it's shot and it just looks like some pervert with a camcorder,
yeah.
film, but
I
it
mean,
just looks wrong.
and in
Yes.
the movie, they were filming their rape and torture and
Yes.
stuff like so that added to yeah, man, that movie I seen that movie a couple of years ago. You know what? As grainy and rough as it was, it had this artsiness. Like he would check this woman out, go to her house, come back, he's prepping himself for his day of work. Also, they'll cut real quick. to the house and inside the house, but you never see him go and grab her and kill her and rape her and stuff like that.
Yes.
So how they shot that, it was very like, it's fucked up to say poetic, but it was very like you didn't have to see them, him grabbing her and killing her and raping her and stuff like that, but just how they set those scenes up at the beginning of the movie was like that fucked me up. That
Yes.
that one that creeped me out and stuff like that, and it was like, man, it was fucked up because he had that relationship with that girl, and you was like, man, you wanna like, man, why am I rooting for him all of a sudden? Like, I want him to
Yeah.
because the dude treated her, that was his sister, treated her like shit. But then, if people haven't seen it, at the end, you kind of like, oh well, never mind, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But fuck, man,
It's a fucked up movie, but
yeah,
it's not fucked up visually per
right,
se.
right,
It's a psychological fucked up where you're
right,
like, what the fuck am I watching?
yeah,
And it literally looks like a underground.
yeah,
That's why I said I like that underground porno like
yeah,
look. There where the dialogue is shitty, and you know what I mean. I like that. Even the sound quality is kind of shitty. You know what
yeah,
I mean. I like that kind of fucking horror movie.
yeah.
That's disturbing to me.
Yeah, that mean those that's the kind of, like I said, that style, that look, and we can say, oh, that style, that look, and we can say, yeah, they didn't have enough money to have,
Yeah.
best film grain and all this other shit, best film stock or whatever, and the movie probably
hmm
cost like 80 grand. I mean, anybody would take 80 grand now, but
hmm
but yeah, I mean, it was, but that was part of the aesthetic. I don't think if they remade that movie and made it more modernized with 8K cameras, you won't get the same
No.
energy from that at
I
all.
don't even want to watch it. I don't even know if there's a 4K HD version of the movie, but I wouldn't even want
Yeah,
to watch it. I
yeah,
wouldn't want to watch it because I think it would ruin it. But like, I even like the bad auto quality of that echo and shit. Like, it's like, oh, this is real. Like, you know what I mean?
right,
He even had that echo, like, uh, like a regular person is video recorded as like,
yeah,
and that makes it even more fucked up. So I mean, yes, I like random shit like that. Like if people ask me my top five, let's of course Halloween is in there. That's my
yeah,
favorite horror movie. But I like Training Busan and the Henry a Portrait of Serial Killer and random shit, man. I like
yeah,
random fucking shit. That that is psychologically as disturbing as visually.
right, right. No, I mean I don't have a huge film for film filmography or whatever, but I'm into psychological horror. I mean, when you watch VIC effects, when people watch VIC effect and all the elements that goes into what's going on with the movies within a movie and all that stuff, yeah, it goes into a mind fuck. I mean, with Evil Lurks, it was the same kind of mindset with that, and with my new movie, Hug These Bones is gonna have that same psychological aspect to everything. I mean, that stuff intrigues. I like horror movies because it takes you away from reality. It's not real. Now, Harry, the Portrait of us, Harry, that movie can be based on a real dude. There was no
Based on
natural elements or
yeah, there's a guy out there who's probably doing that shit.
right, right. He's the fucking monster. So it's like, yeah, that
Uh,
stuff exists. But I do like a supernatural element within a grounded atmosphere as well.
mhm.
I like the human condition and human conversations, but oh, there's a creature now, so you know, taking fantasy and reality and matching it all up because sometimes I don't know. I think I just gravitate to that shit. I like things where you know it's not real, but yet it could probably still fucking happen.
Well,
Unfortunately.
you're gonna fucking love Train to Busan thing. It is the most real life scenario zombie movie where like you get to see because all these people on the train, you get to see them interact with each other, but it's an outside element of fucking zombies running around outside the train.
Right,
But they're real people. You know what I mean? There's
right,
families and they're all interacting with each other with real life stories and scenario. But once again, there's an imminent danger out there of fucking zombies. Like
right.
it's just so it's a masterpiece,
Yeah,
masterpiece.
yeah, man. Send me a link to that because
I'm gonna send that.
I've been watching a lot of my constituents, movies, and
Mhm.
instead of me just watching this and watching that, but watching.
Part two is horrible. Training
Now, oh
Busan
yeah, the
Part
sequel.
two. I didn't like it, but they have a prequel that's a animated. It's an
Okay,
what did they call it? A fucking It's an animated version of the prequel, and the prequel is fucking good. Like anime, that's the word I'm looking for.
oh, anime.
It's an
Okay,
anime prequel to how all this shit happened, and even that is good. I'm not a big anime person, but I really like the prequel, which is called
right,
Pensacola, I believe it's called. And but yeah, I'll send that over to you, man.
cool.
Yep.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right,
all about new shit.
everyone, thank you for coming to another edition. Chris and I do this all the time. We just go on
Yep.
tangents and just we don't even give a fuck if anybody's watching at this point, and then we just
Yeah,
fucking
like, oh
talk.
wait a minute, we still
Yes.
on.
Yeah. Everyone, thank you for coming to another edition of Horror Realm. I'm Travis Bruce, and that's Chris Shern. We'll see you next time. Take care.